no problem. So let's start for today's newspaper. All of you can see it. Is it visible to all of you? One second. Can you all see the screen now? Newspaper?
Yes, sir.
Check.
Yes, sir.
Sure. So right hand side, there's one investment related to the Google investment, which I've seen that Google has decided to invest around $10 billion in India. Out of that $10 billion, the Google is to invest rupees 33,737 crore in Geo, that is Geo platform, to develop entry-level smartphone. So we have seen that yesterday's article, that is editorial, it said that Google would like to what you can say have tie-up with Indian startups in creation of or in manufacturing of the low or we can say low cost smartphone in India, where all the people can have an access to the internet. So obviously since Geo is a platform which has what you can say a good base in India. So Google is trying to invest with Geo to the amount of 33,000 crore rupees to develop entry-level smartphone. So ready for 5G when spectrum is available next year, says Ambani, who is the CEO of the Reliance Industries. So after investment by a clutch of global tech giants, including Facebook, Google has signed up with Geo platform, the digital subsidiary of Reliance Industries Limited, to invest around around 33,000 crores. That is around 4.5 billion for a 7.7% stake. The strategic deal would likely to lead unveiling of new technology products and solutions in India. So making string of announcements in digital and telecom market at company's virtual annual general meeting, Reliance Industry Limited chairman Mukesh Ambani said Jio has designed and developed a completely 5G solution that's ready for launch as soon as spectrum is made available next year. So you need to know what is 5G technology, how the 5G technology is going to be better than the 4G technology, what is the significance and what is the advantage of the 5G technology over 4G technology, that you need to check it out. So remaining news, all of you know that. Right hand side, there is one more article that amid China chill, US tech giants warm up to Geo. So we know that China is what you can say not doing any activities related to India now. The Google's investment of rupees 33,000 crore or $4.5 billion in Geo platform takes the total money pumped into the India's largest telecom company by US-based investors to more than $16.7 billion, almost half of what India received from US as a foreign direct investment over the last 2 decades. That is what is explained here. So you know why that continuously 3 days the news is coming about the Google's investment in India, because this $10 billion investment is a very huge amount, right? We have seen that in the morning in environment class, we have seen that the total green climate fund which is being created by all over the countries is $100 billion. Then the system, the green climate fund, which is going to be utilized for all over the country, is $100 billion. And suppose $10 billion is coming to India, then obviously it is a very huge amount of investment which is coming to here. And that is why this investment of Google is going to play a very crucial role in the revival of the Indian economy, as well as in the coming future of the India, which will help in revive, or which will help in what you can say giving solution to the various problems, economic problems as well as the social problems which are being faced by the Indians in coming year. So that is why it's a very, very big investment. It's a very, very big, what we can say, the news for India. So right hand side, there is one more article, that is Prime Minister briefs European Union on LAC, gets backing for talks. So we have seen that China is having some issues with European Union. So many European countries are also not what you can say very supportive about the increasing influence of the European increasing influence of the China. So many European countries like UK and some countries are also supporting India. So to get the backing of the European Union members, European Union countries, Prime Minister has briefed to the members of the European Union and trying to get the backing of the European Union. That is what is explained here. So it is very important at international level. You need to know that European countries are helping India. A day after, Indian and Chinese corps commander held extensive talks over disengagement of troops along with Ladakh frontier. Prime Minister Narendra Modi Wednesday briefed European Council President Charles Michel and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on the situation at the line of actual control, including the June 15 incident in Galwan Valley, in which 20 Indian Army personnel were killed in clashes with PLA troops. So, speaking to reporters after the 15th India European Union Summit over video conference, so it was a India European Union Summit which was held yesterday. Michael said, "We had the occasion with the Prime Minister to have some information about this incident." He said they discussed the developments along the LAC and we are in favor of peaceful solution. He said the European Union supports all efforts to find peaceful solution through dialogue. And so we see that even our Indian constitution also talks about finding out the peaceful solution in such type of international dispute. That is what being said by the European Union also. So left hand side, there is a news about the Gehlot slams the door, but leadership keeps a window open for pilot. So we need that there is no Indian Congress leader, that is the Sachin Pilot has revolted against the leadership of the Madhya Pradesh. So that is what is explained here. Should just read it out. Check it. Now going to the next page. Okay. CM writes to center against proposed gauge conversion of railway line in MTR. So we know that many such activities like building railway lines or what you can say building roads leads to habitat destruction in the ecosystem in the environment. So there is one proposal of what you can say converting a narrow gauge to what you can say the broad gauge by the Indian Railway. So Chief Minister of Maharashtra has written against this proposed gauge conversion of railway line in MTR. MTR means Melghat Tiger Reserve. Like we have seen yesterday that Melghat Tiger Reserve is one of the important tiger reserve of the India, where we have what you can say good amount of tigers. So Chief Minister of Maharashtra has written to the central government for not converting this railway line from narrow gauge to broad gauge, because again it will lead to some activities and it may lead to habitat destruction, which leads to decrease in the number of tigers. That is what is mentioned here. Going to the next page. Here the news is again given that why the Google to invest around $4.5 billion, that is around 7.7% stake in Geo platform. So 7.7% ownership of the Geo platform will be taken by the Google, and they will help they will help Geo to create a Geo platforms. Proud to be India's largest government-owned NBFC. All of you know what is NBFC? We have already discussed about this NBFC. What is NBFC?
Yes, sir.
What is that? Yes, anyone knows? What is
Not like the financial corporation.
Yes, so Power.
Not recognized RBI.
Yeah, so Power Finance Corporation Limited is a NBFC which finances in the field of power, which gives loans in the field of energy and power. So it is India's largest government-owned NBFC, powering nation with record loan assets of 6.7 lakh crore. So they have given the loans of 6.7 lakh crore to the various companies. That is what is explained here. So RK Singh, who is the Minister of State and Power and New Renewable Energy and Ministry of State of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So the details have been given. What are the achievements of these NBFC? That is also explained here. So just read it out. You need to know that there is an NBFC which is owned by the government, which is, or we can say, giving loans in the field of power sector in India. Okay, here there is an article about the Mahajobs portal, which is started by the Maharashtra. So just check it out. This is an initiative by the Maharashtra to start a job portal, which will help in recruiting the manpower in Maharashtra. Okay, going to the today's editorial, better laid plan. So government should prepare a comprehensive policy on privatization and a medium-term roadmap. So we know there is a debate whether we should go for privatization or whether we should not go for privatization. And after 1991, as we are moving towards more what you can say capitalistic economy. So, and we have also seen that the recently government has taken many decisions where we are trying to privatize some of the government public sector undertaking. So that is what is mentioned here. And yesterday also we have seen there was a news that the Prime Minister office had a meeting with Niti Aayog as well as Niti Aayog and which organization? In yesterday newspaper, Niti Aayog, and there is one more organization with whom it has a discussion where they tried to, what you can say, augment the revenue resources, that non-tax revenue resources, right? So the revenue of the government should be from the non-tax revenue. That was the suggestion given by Niti Aayog and others. So as a part of that non-tax revenue, we know that disinvestment of the public sector undertaking is one of the important, what you can say, the non-tax revenue of the government. Am I right? Those who have done the basics of economic budget, at that time I explained this to you that disinvestment of the public sector undertakings of the government companies is again one of the very, very important, what you can say, the non-tax revenue. Right? Joseph is not there today. Is he there? Joseph, are you there today? Joseph is not there.
Sir,
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, Niti Aayog and Finance Minister officials.
Yes. So because we know that these meetings were trying to, what you can say, how to increase the revenue of the government, that plan they were laying down. So as a part of that, they said that the government should try to go for non-tax revenue, right? So, yeah, and as a part of that non-tax revenue, selling or what you can say privatizing the government companies, like privatization of the government companies, where the government can sell the shares of the government ownership of the companies and they can raise money. This is again one of the very, very important, what you can say, the strategy of increasing the non-tax revenue in the country, right? So whether we should go for that or not, that is again a question. Like I have few questions, whether the non-tax revenue is better or the tax revenue is better. So both had some advantages and disadvantages. So what is that? We will see what is the disadvantage of going for the non-tax revenue, or especially privatization of the government company, that is explained here. So we need to have better laid plans, and government should prepare a comprehensive policy on privatization and a medium-term roadmap. So the slowdown in the economic activities has taken an increasing toll on government finances. While the pace of the contraction in revenue collection appears to be slowing down, the central government's gross tax collection were down by 37% in May. So obviously, one of the important economic fallout or one of the important consequence of the COVID-19 is that the less collection of the taxes by the government, because obviously taxes are paid when the economic activity takes place, like when people, what you can say, buy goods and services, then only the people pay the GST tax, and again when the people income rises, then only the people will pay the income tax, right? So the slowdown in economic activity has taken an increasing toll on the government finances. The governments are not getting any taxes, and there is fall in the taxes by 37% in the month of May, after contracting 44% in April. So in the month of April, it was 44%. In the month of May, it is 37%. The center will face a huge shortfall in both direct and indirect tax collection this year. So the government is not going to, but you can say, receive both direct and indirect taxes collection this year, with non-tax revenue also likely to be under pressure this year. A revenue accruing from both dividends and telecom fee is unlikely to meet budget expectations, indication that the government is exploring other options of raising resources, including the sale of its stakes in various public sector companies, are welcome. So that is what is explained here. So what is indication of that? The government is exploring other options of raising resources, including the sale of its stakes in various public sector companies, are welcome. It's a very, very important article. So next year, this year, the government had originally budgeted for an ambitious disinvestment target of rupees 2.1 lakh crore. Already, the government has a target of disinvestment of around 2.1 lakh crore rupees in the budget, with a sale of stake in companies such as Air India and LIC on the agenda. So we have already seen that in last year budget, the government had a plan of selling the shares of Air India as well as life insurance company, which is again India's largest insurance company. They are planning to sell the shares in this company. However, without proper preparation and planning, achieving this target in the current economic environment will be difficult. The previous financial year, as well as opposed to an original target of rupees 1.05 lakh crore, later revised downwards to 65,000 crore. This investment proceed ended up only at rupees 50,000 crore. Right. So initially in the budget, it was targeted that the government will have this investment of rupees 1.5 lakh crore, but it did not happen. Then it was revised to 65,000 rupees, 65,000 crore. Then again, it was also not achieved. So last year they have achieved only 50,000 crore. So they have achieved 50% of the estimated target in the budget in the last year, what you can say, last financial year. This year, it also have a very ambitious target of 2.1 lakh crore rupees. So what do you think? Can government have a collection of 2.1 lakh crore rupees as a part of the disinvestment in such a lockdown situation? Because in a normal situation, it was only 50,000 crore rupees. So obviously, it is not going to achieve the target of 2.1 lakh crore rupees in a disinvestment. In fact, proceeds from disinvestment have remained almost again 0.3% of the GDP over the past 5 years. So achieving the ambitious target this year and generating more revenue consistently through this avenue requires a comprehensive privatization program along the lines of what was announced by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in May. So we have seen that Nirmala Sitharaman had taken a tranche of the declarations about the economic reforms in India. So जैसे एक प्रोग्राम बनाया गया था, वैसे एक comprehensive program related to the privatization needed to be planned by the government. That is what is explained here. According to the broad contours of policy presents then, a list of strategic sectors would be notified which require the presence of public sector enterprises. The private sector would be allowed in these areas, but at least one enterprise would remain with the public sector. In all other sectors, public sector firms would be privatized. This was a bold announcement. In addition to the efficiency gains that are likely to materialize from privatization, doing so at this juncture will help the government raise the much needed resources. The resources raised through this avenue could be ring-fenced and used to ramp up spending in infrastructure, especially in the health sector, to aid the economic recovery. The delay in announcing the details of such a policy is perplexing. The cost of continuing with loss of making public sector entities, especially those in highly competitive sectors such as aviation and telecom, where no public purpose is served, are too high for the exchequer to bear. The government's privatization program requires a more considered, thought out process and better laid plans. The approach of viewing it solely as a means of plugging the revenue gap, especially towards the end of the financial year, needs to be discarded. The government would benefit from drawing up a medium-term roadmap, listing out the potential candidates and indicating the period of the disinvestment to provide more clarity to investors. So that is what is explained here. What is the challenge in front of the government in the fiscal policies? That is what is explained here. So fiscal policies means what? Ritika, do you remember in yesterday's live class at UPSC Pathshala, I have explained about it. What is the Fiscal policy.
Sir,
Fiscal policy means what?
Taxation.
I sir.
Budgetary policy.
But not there. Okay. Yes, a budget. Yes, Venkatesh.
Budget. It is related to budget, sir.
It is related to budget, right? So
Yes.
fiscal policy is related to
Government-
budget. So these are the fiscal challenges in front of the government of India in this current scenario. So you have to cut this article. You have to take the screenshot of this article. I don't know how many of you are cutting the article, how many of you are having the hard copies with you. But if you do not have the hard copies, please take the screenshots, make a folder and put it in respect to topics which I'm telling to you, because reading newspaper is a very, very important, what we can say, the aspect for UPSC preparation. If you do not do this, it will be very difficult for you to write the answer in the mains exam. And if you do it, it will be very easy to all of you. Fine. So cut this article or take a screenshot of this article, put it in paper 3, topic government budgeting. Right. So there is one topic in paper 3. If anyone is having the syllabus, just go through it. You can see that there is one topic, that is government budgeting. So what is the challenge in front of the government budgeting? There is at least one question every year related to the government budgeting topic. You have to go through the previous year questions and just check it out how the questions are being, what you can see, asked from this particular topic of government budgeting. Okay, any doubts?
सर
Yes.
सर हे जे आर्टिकल आहे ते जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 3 मध्ये इंडियन इकॉनॉमी अँड इश्यूज रिलेटिंग टू प्लॅनिंग यामध्ये पण येऊ शकतो ना?
हा, त्यामध्येच हे टॉपिक आहे ना गव्हर्नमेंट बजेटिंगचा.
गव्हर्नमेंट बजेटिंगचं आहे त्यामध्ये पण वेगळं पॉइंट आहे ते.
हा तेच, म्हणजे हा पर्टिक्युलरली हा टॉपिक कशाशी संबंधित आहे, हा पॉइंट होतो गव्हर्नमेंट बजेटिंग मध्ये. इंडियन इकॉनॉमी अँड प्लॅनिंग मध्ये बजेट देखील येतो. राईट, इंडियन इकॉनॉमी अँड बजेट मध्ये सब टॉपिक मध्ये बजेटिंग येतो. कळलं? म्हणजे बजेटच्या माध्यमातून काय केलं जातो, प्लॅनिंग केलं जातो. राईट, गेटिंग इट?
हो.
द इकॉनॉमिक प्लॅनिंग इज व्हॉट यू कॅन से मेड थ्रू द बजेट. Right, so specifically हे बजेटशी रिलेटेड टॉपिक असल्यामुळे आय एम आस्किंग यू टू पुट इट इन गव्हर्नमेंट बजेटिंग. फाईन?
येस सर.
ठीक आहे. एनिथिंग एल्स? बिकॉज एडिटोरियल मध्ये जर तुम्हाला काही डाऊट असतील, यू शुड आस्क क्वेश्चन्स रिलेटेड टू द एडिटोरियल, बिकॉज नाउ ऑनवर्ड्स आय विल बी डिस्कसिंग मोर और फोकसिंग मोर ऑन दिस एडिटोरियल टॉपिक्स. इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट्स यू कैन आस्क मी. एनी डाउट्स? No doubts. ठीक है. Going to the next topic, that is Chabhar project. Act quickly is a suggestion given by the editorial related to the Chabhar project. Anyone knows where the Chabhar project is located, or where the
It is in
Chabhar
Iran.
port is located? Iran. So India is helping Iran to build a port in Chabhar region of the Iran. So what is the strategic importance of the Chabhar port for India, and why India is helping Iran to build that port? That you have to go and check it out today. So simply you can search it in Google, Chabhar port and significance of Chabhar port, or its importance for India's interest, like why India is trying to build a port in Iran. That you will give me the answer in tomorrow's, what you can say, the session. So the Iran's decision to drop India from a plan to build a rail link from strategic Chabhar port to Zedan on Afghan border is a wake-up call for India. So this is again one more important, what you can say, the friend of India is again being, what you can say, moving away from us. That is again not a good sign at the international level. So India was supposed to build a railway link from Chabhar port to Zedan on the Afghan border, which would have helped India to have access to the Afghanistan and again to the Central Asia countries, because Central Asian countries have a lot of, what you can say, the nuclear raw materials, and to get those nuclear raw materials from the Central Asian countries, having access to the Central Asia through Chabhar port and through Afghanistan was an important, what you can say, the purpose behind Chabhar port. So the development of the port and the link overland through Iran to Afghan border was supposed to be India's answer to Pakistan's denial of trading route through Wagha to Khyber Pass into Afghanistan and beyond to Central Asia. Delhi is rightly made to the decision to bypass Pakistan altogether, but appears to have lost the staying power to see the plan through. India played its part in developing the port, which is functional now. From Kandla in Gujarat, wheat and other food grain is being sent to Afghanistan via Chabhar. Also, it was India's border road organization that helped build the 218-kilometer route 606 in Afghanistan, known otherwise as the Dalram Zanji Highway, that cut road travel time between Afghanistan and Iran. But India dragged its fleet on building the rail link from Chabhar to Zedan. First, the delays were over contract disagreement, then the fear of US sanctions, and later, after the US provided a carve out to India on the port and the rail link, the difficulty under the sanctions regime in finding international suppliers for material. So whatever investment India has made in the Chabhar port, as well as in Afghanistan, building the road in Afghanistan, will be in vain. What you can say, it will be in what you can say the loss if we do not what you can say build a road from Chabhar to Zedan. Chabhar Fort will not be the first time delays in completion of the ambitious infrastructure projects undertaken by India in the region have inflicted setbacks on India's strategic goals. From Nepal to Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Iran, Delhi has made commitments on building power projects, highways, railways, and other infrastructure. And this is the reason why our neighboring countries are preferring China, because China is building such type of infrastructure in a recorded time, because they have the capacity to build such type of large infrastructure projects. And that is why many neighboring countries like Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, then Bangladesh, then Myanmar, all these countries are having contract with China rather than having it with India. So each proceeds slowly, or not at all. So the Pancheshwar Dam project in Nepal, for instance, has been hanging fire since 1991. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised to speed it up when he visited Kathmandu in August 2014, but little progress was made. Instead, India is firefighting to salvage a long-standing relationship with Nepal over claims of territory. A still to be completed trilateral highway between India, Myanmar, and Thailand. So, road is going to be built between India, Myanmar, and Thailand has overshadowed by Chinese-built highway that has boosted China-Myanmar border trade. India's better record in Sri Lanka is not without missed opportunities that were once again snapped up by China. Delhi has no choice but to find a more efficient way of getting around these difficulties. So Delhi has indicated that it continues to be a part of the rail link project in Iran. If so, now is the time to get on with it. Even if Iran is much touted 25-year strategic partnership agreement with Beijing is not as eminent as Tehran makes it seem, the Chabhar project is important for India's regional goals and for its relations with Iran. That is the reason we need to act quickly. That is what is explained here. Cut this article, take the screenshot of this article, put it in paper 2 topic, India's bilateral relations with Iran. Any doubts about this Chabhar issue? Kadala tumhala, what is that Chabhar issue now? Hello?
So US provided a carve out, meaning
US carve out, right? So what has happened? See, there is a trilateral, what you can say, there is a triangle between India, Iran, and US. So India and Iran have a good relations with each other, while US and Iran do not have a good relations with each other. They are always enemy of each other, right? Which Iran and USA. And again, India and USA also has a good relations, right? So when India is helping Iran, the US is always what you can say pressurizing India not to help Iran. Got it? Okay. So what happens when India was trying to help the Iran in building the ports, it's obviously for its own strategic reason, the USA is trying to pressurize India for not to what you can say helping Iran in building that roads. So that is what is explained here, that why this project got delayed. The delays were over contract disagreements. Over contract means what? Once the contract is not what you can say fulfilled, then there is then again one more contract is signed. So there has been delayed over the over contractment. There were disagreement on that. Then on the fear of US sanction, because we've seen that US has said one thing, that those countries which will have relations with Iran, we will what you can say have an economic sanction. So India was pressurized for what you can say not having good relations with Iran. And again, after the USA provided a carve out to India on the port, carve out means what? If India comes out of that, what you can say the plan, then USA will help India to give some other, what you can say the alternative rail link to connect with the Central Asia. So because of this, we know that there were delays in the projects which were carried by India in the Afghanistan and in Iran and also other countries. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Check. Any other doubts? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Check it. Chaliye, going to the next article. Next, we're going to the next page. That is ideas page. Let's not fail the young. So that is explained here. This is about the maybe education system in India. There must be some issues related to education. 1 second. We are left with 3 minutes. We have left only 3 minutes. We'll start. We'll be quick. Manish Sisodia, who is the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, has written an article. As they step into uncertain future, center needs to stand with youth, not against them. UGC needs to revisit the guidelines on final year exemptions immediately. So we know that there are a lot of what you can say no clarity on whether the final year exams is going to be conducted or not going to be conducted, whether the results will be declared or not, whether they will be given a graduation certificate or not. So there is a lot of what you can say question mark about the future of the young people. So that is what Manish Sisodia is saying, that the central government needs to stand with youth, not against them. UGC needs to revisit its guidelines on final year examination immediately. So while on the other hand, the state governments are what you can say saying not to conduct the final year exam and give the final result to the students on the basis of their 2 years what you can say the performance, while the UGC is not in agreement with that. So because of this, the future of the many students is what you can say is in question mark. What is going to happen with them? So that is what is explained here. Right hand side, there is one article written by Ram Madhav, neighborhood challenge. So in paper 2, there is one topic called India's relations with its neighborhood. So what is the challenge which we have with the neighborhood? That is what is explained here. So as Chinese influence ambition expand in the region, Delhi must add Prime Minister principle of together we grow and together first. That is what is the principle which our Prime Minister follows. So that is what is explained here. So read this article, cut this article and put it in paper 2 topic, India's relationship with the neighboring country. So all of you read this article. It's a very, very important article. You can understand what are the relationship between India with our neighboring country, that you can get an idea after reading this port. So even the Chabar port related article is also like issue is also being discussed here. Then threats of conflict, that is counter terror alignment of China, Pakistan poses threat to India's interest. So counter terror alignment of China and Pakistan poses a threat to India's interest. That is what is an article written by Anuj Gupta. You can read this article because it will be important for paper 3 topic, India's internal security challenge. So I guess only 1 minute is left. So we may not be able to finish the newspaper. So once the meeting is expired, you can join again using the same link. We will discuss the remaining points. We will discuss the remaining news. But anyways, this article written by Theaters of Conflict by Anju Gupta is important article. You can cut this article and put it in paper 3 topic, that is India's internal security challenges. The writer is an IPS officer and the views are personal. That is what is written. So just read this article. What are the internal challenges, security challenges, both what you can say from the state actors and non-state actors, you will come to know after reading.